Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of ClueCon Weekly. Joining us this week are James Cadd and Ashwinder Bhatti from Microsoft, and from the Azure Communication Services team. And we're going to go over what their offering is, how it plays with Teams, and how it powers contact centers, and all the kind of new stuff that's coming out, because that's a very new product. First of all, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Luca.
Would you like to start with a quick introduction? Maybe Ashwinder first.
Sure, yes. I'm Ashwinder. I'm a product manager with Azure Communication Services, and I have been with Microsoft for a while. I love, the work that we do there. Right now, I run the calling services, so my focus is mainly around providing developer tools that ease up the development experience of programming calling workflows, and how developers can leverage the upcoming intelligent any investments that we are making to make the B2C communications a more intelligent and a more natural experience for their end users.
James, what about yourself?
Hey, I'm also a product manager in Azure Communication Services, have been at Microsoft almost 10 years now, and also really love the team that Ash and I work on. I'm focused on calling interoperability with Teams and contact center scenarios, which are primarily B2C for ACS.
Sounds like me and you share a lot of things we do every day, because I also work in a lot of interop scenarios. But that's nice. For another time. So first of all, I'd like to start asking, and I know we'd like to start with what exactly is ACS? Because it's a very new offering, is it?
It is. ACS GA'd, I think, about 2 or 3 years now, so it's pretty new in the CPaaS market. And it is a fully managed communications platform as a service. It's built on the same backend that powers Microsoft Teams. So, Teams is at the hundreds of millions of users a minute scale, and ACS benefits from that same infrastructure. And we have a number of different modalities of communication that we enable, including email, SMS, VoIP calling, SIP and telephony, PSTN calling. Anything you would add there, Ash?
No, I think you summarized it well. I think we also recently released a WhatsApp support channel. So, right. We keep adding the channels that we support and the features into it, yeah.
So I'm wondering, what is the place of ACS compared to Teams, which does have a lot of communications features already? Is it more for builders? So is it something you use to build your own solution more than a package product?
Yeah, so Teams, you can think of it, it's a UCaaS application, right? You get a SaaS product with it. It has extensibility features to it, but the scope is of a UCaaS application, whereas what we're doing here is we're taking that same platform, and now we are exposing those capabilities as a API platform. So you can go ahead, as developers, you can go and help build a various different kind of communication scenarios, whether that's virtual appointments for telehealth or code systems, or that's inbound and outbound calling workflows for contact centers, or outbound reminders using messaging. The idea there is basically taking all the goodness and the richness that we offer already in the communication space, but opening it up to developers to build their own custom experiences on top of it. And since we sit very close to Teams, because we are essentially the same platform, what we also offer, another niche area that we offer under Azure Communication Services, is the interoperability with Teams, which we'll go into in later in the session. But basically, how can developers use our APIs to connect and extend the Teams features for their applications as well?
Yeah. Another thing I would add is that a difference from Teams is that Teams is part of the Microsoft 365 software suite. You normally buy it as part of a package, a subscription. With ACS, you pay like you would for any other CCaaS, basically, which is per minute of video call, per message for an SMS message or email. So how you pay for that product is another differentiator.
Yeah. And then being in the Azure portfolio, you can technically leverage all of the Azure goodness. So whether that, like, we offer strong integration with Azure Cognitive Services, and any developer that you want to use the whole Azure ecosystem, we seamlessly integrate in there.
That's really nice. Yeah, I think it is a needed product in the market, because again, I've been doing a lot of work of interoperability with Teams, getting calls to get into Teams from other systems, and I think making it a little bit easier is even just that for me, it's already valuable. So I'll have to bug you after the recording for a few pointers about how to do it. But going back on the topic, Microsoft is a leader in AI too. So is ACS tied to the whole AI initiative? Are you targeting virtual call center agents, that kind of stuff too, or is it just for communications right now?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that is the need of the hour. If you aren't, you're already lagging behind, right? No, definitely. We've actually been working on something, for a while, and we have multiple ways. So I think for calling specifically, but in general, like any customer service space or contact center space, you need to have intelligence built in, because I think the very straightforward things have been done for ages. So you're not bringing anything new if you're not doing innovation there, right? So we have multiple ways. So conversational agent experiences, or conversational AI, conversational IVR, whatever you want to call it, was something which was very strategic. We knew that would be valuable in the market itself, and we have multiple customers who use us mainly for that as well. And what we enable you to do, as I said before, like I work on a product called Call Automation, which is an API which allows you to do literally just program calls in this event action-based mechanism. And what it allows you to do is you can build an entire workflow right from when the customer calls you till the customer issue is closed up, right? So what does that journey look like? What does the experience for the customer look like? And a lot of it can also be before you even talk to a human agent, right? And that's where conversational AI comes into picture. So we have strong out-of-box integration with Azure Cognitive Services. So you can, we provide out-of-the-box speech-to-text and text-to-speech services. We have APIs called Play and Recognize APIs, which basically what it is you can take your own conversational AI engine and plug it into our system, and it enables you to actually go and give a voice to your AI agent, right? We also provide multiple different ways, especially in the contact center space. There are a lot of these complex systems, and each of them can be highly customized. So instead of customers having to adopt to us, what we really care about is, hey, we want to meet the customer where they are, right? So if you want to build a whole conversational IVR experience from the scratch, you can come and build with us using our APIs, and we offer you a lot of these intelligence services out of the box. But if you are a established player, or you're like, hey, I've already made a lot of investment, I have in conversational IVR, or I have agents there that I've trained in my subject matter, and I want to plug in and I want to just make sure that I'm able to leverage them into the calls. We offer multiple ways to integrate that as well, through media streaming and other options. So the idea is, let's meet the customer where they are by providing these different integration models, but give them that enhancement so they are able to provide not just an AI agent talking to an end user, but they are able to do that in context, right? They're able to understand what the customer is talking about. If you've done an initial triage, or if you want to hand over to a human agent, the context should not be lost, right? So how do you build that continuity? How do you intelligently figure out, hey, maybe this customer is not really satisfied with this IVR agent. I need to do something different. I need to maybe transfer to a human, or I need to go in and give them more prompts around, more helpful tips. So we provide these building blocks for you to go and stitch out that entire experience. So your B2C communications can be AI first.
Right. And I think I would add there, on the client side, Ash covered two of the main pillars that we have for AI, which are the bots and the accessors. on the client side, we also think about transformers that we have available for AI. So those are things like raw audio and video access, so that you could run your own AI against those, against that media, client background effects, client-side captions, which are integrated with Azure Cognitive Services. And another feature we announced recently, Deep VQE, which is a machine learning model to help improve audio quality and echo cancellation. And like Ash mentioned, we're part of Azure, we're part of Microsoft. So you can leverage AI through Teams Copilot, through Microsoft Copilot Studio, and we even have Copilot available in the Azure portal to help you diagnose your SDK and API behaviors and figure out how you can improve call quality there as well.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to unpack there regarding especially call quality. Maybe we'll get there later. Again, I am a telephony super fan, so I've been in the industry for a long while.
We need a separate session on each of those.
Yeah, we definitely do need a separate section. One question I want to ask, like, you have a product called Copilot, but which should also become sort of a synonym for not running AI agents directly. That is, I am a caller, I call into a system, and I'm only talking to an agent. But what I'm seeing in the industry, there's a lot of side-by-side usage with live agents. As in, I am a live agent, I take a call, there's something on my screen in my application that's transcribing the call in real time and following up with what I need. I've especially seen a very good usage of that, where agents are able, so there was a demo for an airline support, where in real time, while the caller was saying, I would like to change my flight, I'm flying from Boston to Los Angeles, I need to fly to San Francisco instead because I have a business meeting, whatever, but I can't fly tomorrow evening, I need to fly in the morning, all the things. And in real time, that will populate the form that the agent will need to change the flight. So you'd see it change from Los Angeles to San Francisco first, then it will change the day and time, then it will do some other adjustments. At the end of the conversation, all the agent had to do is check that what was informed was correct. And do you support that kind of use case for agents?
Yeah, definitely. I think you're touching on a very good point, because when I was previously talking, I was like, oh, I missed that one. So, we were thinking on the right lines here, similar lines here. Definitely. I think the previous section I covered is a lot about triaging, right? Your conversational agent is the front end of the communication. They're trying to understand what the issue is, help as much as they can. But when you come to the agent as well, what we're hearing repeatedly from our customers are two goals, right? How do I use AI features to actually help do a lot of the easy work that can be done already, and then so I can save my humans agents time so they can really work on the complex problems, the more tricky problems, and help customer get to a resolution faster. And that's where, as you mentioned, like AI features can really be useful, which is in industry called agent assist, right? So we offer like live transcription of your calls as well. So what you can do is you can have an agent in the call, an AI agent who is actually listening and getting the real-time transcript of the call. And you could imagine like a custom model. Let's say if it's a healthcare call, this custom model is trained on healthcare questions. So they'll be listening into the conversation between the end user and the agent through this transcription, and they can prompt agents around like, hey, this is the question. These are the things that you should ask the customer, or these are the things that you should offer the customer based on the sentiment I'm seeing. Or here is a workflow. You ask for a flight change. I know we have a workflow for it. Hey, here's the workflow that you need to use to actually make that happen. Here are the options I'm giving you for the flight, right? So you're very right. What's the content of the call, what's happening in the call, and being able to react to it intelligently in real time is really important. And so that's where we offer multiple ways. As I said, you have media streaming, you can subscribe to the entire stream of the call. You can get them unmixed and mixed, so you can identify who's the speaker, what are they talking. and then use that to identify sentiment, do entity detection on what are the topics that are being discussed, and then prompt the agent to be like, hey, this is what I recommend you to do. So it saves a lot of that admin job for the agent, not just the admin job, but it actually goes ahead and it's kind of like a co-pilot for the agent. It's really helping it succeed in its job, right? For sure.
Yeah, I think that at the moment, actually, we're seeing that as I want to say it's the predominant. So at SignalWire, we have our own AI agent, and we have a good platform there. And I feel like but that is really being used for what you said. It's triage. Like our largest customer is now running. So they have a use case where 80% of the calls are just a confirmation because they are confirming a shipping address. By definition, most people won't have moved since the last time they ordered something. So it's always just yes, yes, yes. So 80% of those go to the AI agent. And for now, the customer opted for not actually having an AI flow in case the answer is no. Like if you say, okay, this is a delivery confirmation. They will ask, hey, so tomorrow we're going to deliver a package between 10 and 12. And is this to your address? If you say yes, it's fine. If you say yes, it will still confirm the time. So what it also asks is the time okay, or do you want a different time slot? That's done by the AI. If you say no, after long experimentation with getting people to getting actual speech recognition to understand street addresses in Arabic, which is essentially impossible. I will say it's right now. That is a technology I am afraid doesn't exist right now. I'll have to say that.
Yeah, definitely. I think the devil is always in the details, right? But that's where, as I said, coming back to my one of the points we made earlier, which was like, because we're part of the Azure ecosystem, so we get a lot of any goodness that's happening in Azure. So for example, the text to speech and speech to text APIs that we support today, they support like over 100 languages. And you can choose the kind of the emotional level that you want, the voice type you want. So you can really fine tune with all these parameters to give the customer a more natural experience than them just having, like the customer. You should not, when I call a business, I shouldn't have to be like, press 1, do this. Oh, I am telling you this. Are you getting this? No, I should be able to talk in a very natural way and say like, oh, yes, confirming, but wait, I have this changed. And the AI should be intelligent enough to detect that and take action, right? That
Right.
is where we are today. Yeah.
Well,
and the great
test data set we have for Arabic street names with speech recognition and see how far we get, because that didn't work with many providers. I'll be honest.
Oh, yeah.
First, family names like people names and street names are very hard to do recog on.
It
Right.
is a lot of work that goes into getting that accuracy right. Yeah.
And the good thing is you already mentioned you're spending a lot of time building SignalWire's AI agent. If you have scenarios where you want to bring your AI agent into Teams, then that's something we can help you do, right? You don't have to take Teams Copilot. You don't have to take Azure's AI. You can bring your own and use our raw media APIs to integrate it either in a VoIP app or in Teams itself.
Interesting. Yeah, well, that's something I wanted to actually go to next, which is something that's very close to my work currently is integrating with Teams. So how does ACS interplay with Teams, and does it make it a little bit easier to get a SIP call into a Teams room?
You can get a SIP call, you can get a VoIP call into Teams, for sure. So we offer different flavors of how to extend Teams. So for example, for something like virtual appointments, we have patients, healthcare providers and doctors who have Teams adoption. How can they continue using Teams to have calls with patients? So a patient who's not a Teams user, you can use ACS to help bridge that gap and connect them to a doctor who's on Teams. On the more contact center space, we have 2 different flavors targeted for 2 different market segments. So maybe, James, do you want to start with the first one?
Sure. For the contact center scenarios, one area that we have is calling into Teams voice, Teams call queues or auto attendants. So this is a scenario where you can take a customer who's in a web page using their own identity or your identity at SignalWire or any other business and place a call. That call will then be received in Teams by the queue that it was placed to and distributed to the best or next available agent to help that customer. You then are placed into a VoIP call. You can turn on video, you can screen share, and do all of the things that you would normally expect to. Ash, do you want to continue with the next scenario?
Yeah, sure. So you can see how like the scenario that James described is very useful for a customer whose customer services or B2C communications are heavily in the Teams ecosystem, right? You're using the Teams call queues, Teams auto attendant. And so it makes really sense. It's like, hey, how can I leverage the setup that I already have and have my end user be able to connect to me through that setup, right? There's also a different segment of customer who have, and we keep hearing this a lot from customers where like, hey, I have Teams in my company, in my business. I use it for my internal communications and talking to other businesses. How can I extend my Teams, how can I use my Teams client to cover my B2C communications as well? But the difference here is, they might have a contact center solution with a different provider. They might be having a 10-year contract with a contact center ISV. And so they're like, hey, I'm not going to go and disrupt my entire solution. What I want is to be given ways to integrate into my existing setup, right? So you might be using your own custom call queues, and how do you assign agents and identify agents? How do you route to them? Or you might be using our Azure Communication Services APIs to build that all out. Now, can I still continue using this? Can I still continue using and keep my contract with my contact center provider and still have my agents be on the Teams calls and use it, right? So that's where we provide a much more flexible model where we say, hey, when a call comes into you, you have full control over it. How do you want to assign an agent? What kind of conversational IVR experiences you want to provide? You can do that. And what we enable you to do is we enable you to bridge the end user to a Teams agent. So when you want to have that connectivity between your contact center and the Teams agent, Call Automation API allows you to do that. And what we've done is we've also added some improvements, right? So as you said, to your point, can I connect to a Teams user, right? So we're doing some enhancements to the existing models as well. So for example, we were hearing a lot of, one of the things that we have done is we've improved the customer setup time, right? And that benefits not just the customer, but it also benefits the contact center provider. So instead of having an SBC or a direct routing setup for each Teams tenant that I, as a contact center provider, have to surface. If I am, as a contact center provider, I have 100 customers, I have 100 tenants who have Teams agents. I don't have to go and do a setup for them individually. I can have one setup, and then I can just keep on adding and onboarding Teams tenants. So we've simplified the setup, the configuration experience there. Another thing is it's a pay-as-you-go use, so you only get charged for what you're using. And then the third thing that we have done is we have simplified the connectivity channels. So in addition to being able to reach a Teams agent over phone or a SBC setup, now you can reach them over VoIP as well. So this reduces, as a contact center provider, it reduces your spend on the telephony infrastructure. It also helps you modernize it. You can do calls over voice over IP. If you still want to use your SBCs because you're like, hey, I am heavily tied into my SBC setup, you can still do that. And guess what? Now you can just have one SBC that can cater to multiple of your customers while making sure that there is privacy maintained, there is data separation between all these different customers. And so you have to spend less and you get more out of it.
Well, that's a lot, and I think
I
it's
know.
I'll put a few links in the video description just to get started. One quick question: do you also support hardware phones? Out of curiosity, via SIP or like via
Yeah, definitely. Yes. So you can think of like, the calls coming in from your network to Azure, and on your network side, it's a SIP endpoint, or maybe it's the opposite, call going from Azure to your network. So we support PSTN phone numbers, we support SBCs and SIP endpoints as well, and then we support voice over IP calling as well.
That's awesome. I mean, it sounds like it's a great platform. I'm gonna have to go have some fun later today.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. We have a few links to put in the description. So, well, I mean, is there the other thing I wanted to ask you is I didn't quite get that. Do you also handle some kind of skill based / queue based routing for agents? So there's usual need for that, or an API to do that. Like I have a call coming in, I need to decide if James Ashwinder or Luca is taking the call based on what they know. Is that native to the system? Is something you build around an API? How would that work?
Yeah, so we offer a component called Job Router, which basically you can configure the different skill types, what the matching rules will be like, what skills your agents are, and then it has like how do making sure that they understand agents' availability, presence, skill set, and then it basically what it does is it's a mechanism that helps you take certain parameters and match you with the best agent available to meet the job. So it's called Job Router. And as I said, like we support we have these building blocks that allow you to actually take care of the end-to-end experience. So you can choose to build a fully customized solution on top of us, or you can be like, hey, I already have something, I want to plug and play a few things from you guys. I already have a third-party vendor for something else, and I wanted to bring together. So the huge benefit of an API platform is it is identity agnostic, and you can do this highly flexible, customized solutions according to your needs.
Because I feel like that's a great talking point because frankly, I've seen far too many systems as not being standard based or having their own too many opinions about how they work. It's hard to use just one component. So if you're fully interoperable with other platforms, it's really a very good selling point. So plus I've been in telephony for a long time and I've been part of a couple standards groups and stuff. So I'm all about being able to work with different, because as you said, very often it's just the investment. Like it's actually a no-go. If you say, no, you have to throw your SPCs away, and you say, well, you know what? We just gave $1 billion to Siemens. So no, that's it. That's all that.
You gotta be customer where they are. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I mean, thank you very much. I think we should probably definitely have another session at a minimum because it's just the surface of the surface. Apparently, Surface is actually another Microsoft product, by the way. Just it's just the beginning. So I'm really interested in seeing and asking you a few more questions, especially about if Ashwinder doesn't mind, James, about the telephony part itself, because I'm again being from that world for a long time, but all of it really. But thank you for now. I mean, it's a great product. Go take a look, have fun. It will certainly work with SignalWire too, so we can do something together. And well, again, James and Ashwinder, thank you for joining us today.
Awesome. Thank you, Luca.
There will be links in the description for the rest of the people, and I see you next week. Goodbye.